Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Sorcery with Khare, Cityport of Traps. Now as you can see, I'm back here in the prison, which is not where I left off last episode. Last time I was unhappy with the amount of time I was spending playing the dice game with the old man in the prison, and I wanted to advance the story. However, after the episode I thought to myself, you know what, Raph? You didn't get all the clues, obviously, that's fine, but you don't know how the game handles things. Maybe, because you didn't even get the clue that you need the incantation to open the north gate, maybe you could find someone who has part of the incantation, but the option to ask them about it may be denied to you because you don't even know that it exists. This is obviously a major problem and would render the adventure particularly incompletable for me. So, I went back to the beginning of Book 2 and I loaded up my save from Book 1 and I went back into the prison where I spent 3.5 hours playing the dice game to try and get as many of the clues as I could. Now, the dice game itself is very interesting, and there are a number of strategies and tactics that work. The clues are hidden in conversations, which will occasionally come up during bidding, and every bid advances the conversation a step, unless the old man gets suspicious and calls it, and then you stop abruptly and don't go any further in that particular conversation branch. So you obviously want to start bidding low to get a longer game, to get a better chance of getting those conversation options. However, none of the conversation options are available unless you bid particularly high as your opening bid. And then it kind of continues on from there. So basically, bidding high means he's going to get suspicious quickly, so you have a limited amount of time to get the information. So let's review the clues we have managed to obtain. So, Glandragor and Vic were comrades together once. A man named Vic runs several businesses in the Cityport. Lord Lorag is a scholar, apparently retired. To which I asked, retired from being a nobleman? And he said apparently, but I would presume retired from being a scholar, perhaps. The Northgate spell is only known in full to the first noble of the city, and 4 of the nobles of Khare were each given 1 line of the spell to the Northgate of Khare. You will need to find these nobles if you can and learn their secrets. So this is the information we were missing. What I'm going to do now is cut the video and play up to the point we were last time, and then resume. And we're back. Outside, the air tastes fresh. It has rained a little overnight. A little distance from here, a busy crossroads marks the start of the city. We've eaten our bomba fruit. We've managed once again, against the odds, to beat the innkeeper and pick up a little bit of gossip. For now, though, let's head to the crossroads. Following the track for a few minutes, you reach a junction where 3 roads begin. These are the outskirts of Khare. Huts huddled like beggars on either side of the tracks leading uphill into the city port. I'm not going to move too quickly, I'll have a look around. It must be clear to everyone around that you are a stranger in these parts. The city's inhabitants, a multitude of malevolent creatures who would kill for the laces on your boots, turn to watch you as you pass, laces of your boots. You are sport, a figure to be jostled and robbed, and one who will most likely fall prey to the strange, elaborate system of traps laid across Khare by the early settlers to protect themselves from one another. That's a lengthy sentence. I'll look at the paths. There are more people here than you've seen in a long time. You cast an eye across the faces to see if any are flank of the assassin you met outside Torapani. I'll look left, I'll look right, I'll look straight ahead, then I'll make up my mind. To the left, you see a group of scruffy youngsters walking up the road with packs on their backs. To the right, a track heads towards fields. A hut stands proud a little further on. Ahead is the main road into the centre of Khare, its surface rutted from cartwheels. Further in the distance you see fields. This is the route taken by supply wagons to the docks. The houses of this place are confusing, but you will have to simply strike out. You need to track down the city nobles and get the spell lines of the gates that the old man told you of. Just at that moment, a cart rolls down the road from the right and careens around the corner to take the main track ahead. On its back are stacked several crates. One teeters for a moment, then falls near your feet, its lid cracking open. I'll wait for the driver to stop. Hey, you dropped something. You wait for the driver to stop, but they do not see you. The cart rattles away up the road. You notice a purple liquid leaking from the side of the crate. That could be unhealthy. I'm just going to leave it where it is. I'm in a good state right now, and I don't think it's going to be rations. You leave the crate in the mud. Other poor creatures can have the salvage. Okay, let's look at this. Down here we got fields to the right. Fields, maybe farmland, Festival of Thieves. This doesn't look like an area that nobles are going to live, unless this is some kind of massive noble estate over here. Straight ahead we have this large street leading up to larger estates. Mansion Row. Is this Mansion Row here at the bottom of this cliff, or is it at the top where they can look down and feel more important? Hard to tell. Dwarftown. We gotta go to Dwarftown. Obviously it's the best place in the entire city. No doubt about it. Off I go. You follow the children with backpacks up the road. Homes, hovels line the track, and strange faces appear at the windows watching you as you pass. Then, from around the bend ahead, a troop of guards appears. Okay, I could dart into a nearby hut and hope the inhabitant doesn't kick up a fuss at having their home invaded. Keep my head low. Blend in with the youngsters. They're teenagers. And while you can get some pretty lanky, tall teenagers, they don't look like fully grown adults. And I do. Also, my clothes mark me out as a stranger in town, so keeping my head down and hoping to avoid trouble. You know what? Ignore them. Yeah. Just act as if I'm doing nothing wrong. Right? Ooh. It's either dart into a nearby hut or ignore them. Just remember, snakes and ladders. Some encounters in the city can move me to other locations in the city that I do not necessarily wish to visit, or essentially away from the location I was heading towards. Which means going into a house is probably a good idea. Unless it looks like I'm breaking in. Ignore the guards, ignore the guards, ignore the guards. Ooh, is this a good call? This could be a real... Right. My gut tells me this is a really bad decision. Pretending to be a teenager, I don't know, feels odd. Keep my head down, out of trouble. Yeah, but is that stand by the side of the road, head held down, trying to not draw attention to myself, or just like lower my head and keep moving forwards? Oh, this is tricky. Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. If I do step into a nearby house, that might make sense. But there are strange faces at the windows. And I doubt those strange faces are going to be friendly. I'm going to try ignoring the guards and hope it works. Just bluff my way through. Uh-oh. You ignore them. They must have better things to do than harass strangers, even those they might have once arrested. But the guards do not ignore you. Here, you! One of the guards grabs you by the arm. Don't I know your face from someplace? I could say yes, that probably wouldn't end well, so I'm just going to go, nope. Not me. No, you don't. He doesn't give up so easily. Aren't you the tramp we put in the guardhouse? Continue with the denial. I think he's going to need some kind of misdirection to send him off in it. Perhaps, but I'm free now. I'm going to have to go with, yeah, would have been my brother. Of course it was. Then you'll be wanting to visit him. With his firm grip on your arm, he turns you about. The other guards are rolling their eyes. Don't go arresting people, one sighs. We'll have to feed him if you do. But I haven't done anything wrong, so I can protest my interest. I'm starting an argument. Either between them or get argumentative so his mates go, leave it, mate, he's not worth it. You arrested me last week, you declare. And he didn't feed me then. So, oh, he arrested me. Oh, the guard. He arrested me last week, you declare, and he didn't feed me then. But he did get me to steal money from the other prisoners for him. The guard's eyes bulge. His fellows turn on him. Really? Because you said during that card game... I'll wait to see what happens. I can run for it. I'll wait a little first, because I don't want to look too... I want them to be more distracted by the argument before I make a getaway. The rodent is lying, bellows the guard you've picked on. An almighty argument ensues, and your arm is released. I'll slip away. Wait. If I watch the fight, I'll have to deal with whatever's left at the end of the fight. If I slip away, where do I get to go? You take advantage of the moment to slip away. A pleasant herbal smell drifts from the doorway of a nearby hut. Probably the nearby hut I should have gone into in the first place. Inside is dark, with a smell of rotting straw rising from a pile of mattresses that circle a low table. It's only after a moment that you notice these mattresses are occupied by these 3 individuals. Three ugly faces peer at you through clouds of smoke rising from a hookah pipe that sits at the table. Examine the people. You look at the 3 creatures who are staring at you with lazy disinterest. They are black elves, normally clever and vicious creatures, but these 3 only stare vacantly into the clouds of smoke at the top of the hut. Sniff the air. I think we know what they're doing here. You sniff the air tentatively and your head spins. The smell of the hookah is sweet and stupefying. It is weed plant. That explains the lethargy of the 3 elves. One of the elves takes a long draw on the hookah, then sighs and settles back on his mattress. I can talk to them, sit down and smoke the weed plant, or leave this place. I'll talk a little, and see if I can talk without partaking and without smelling too much of the stuff. You nod to the nearest elf. You turn to the nearest elf and nod. Greetings, you say. The elf nods back in return. I'm new to Khare. Look, I think they're too stoned to rob me, alright? The elf nods deeply in reply. I've been sent by the first noble. No, that could lead to trouble. I hear the north gate is locked with a spell. The elf nods a 3rd time, more profoundly now. He's just going to keep nodding, isn't he? I'll talk to one of the others. It's no good. The elf has smoked for hours and is too vague and confused to say anything of use. The elf next to him begins to laugh. Oh, why are you laughing? The elf attempts to explain, making gestures in the air, but he falls asleep before he can make you understand. You try one of the other elves, but he is no better. You thank them and make to leave the hut. You lift the flap, but the first elf wakes suddenly and grips your arm with vice-like strength. Don't let him do his experiment, he says with great urgency. You can never trust a noble. Then he collapses back into his cushion. You leave the hut. So there might be a noble who's attempting some kind of experiment, or the elf could have just been stoned out of his mind. Who knows? I'm going to hope the guards have dispersed now and head on up the road. You continue up the narrow road. It is packed either side with mud brick hovels, but most are deserted. A few creatures pass by, heads turned down. Probably the best option that I should have gone for, really. They do not look at you. This part of the city port is barely habited and certainly not somewhere the nobles would be found, but you may be able to learn some useful information from inhabitants all the same. You pass a drinking fountain dribbling water into a chipped stone bowl. You know what? Stop a creature to talk? Sure. You stop a stooped orc-like creature. Is the drinking water safe? The creature looks at the fountain and blinks in surprise. I hope so, he says. I've drunk from it every day of my life. The creature looks somewhat uncomfortable to be talking to you. Okay, enough talking. Don't want to make him uncomfortable. That could lead to trouble. You nod to the creature and thank him. I'll go to the fountain and drink. You lean down by the fountain and cup your hand to drink. The water tastes cool, if herbal. Perhaps something is growing in it. Well, I've drunk some now. I could spit it out. Might as well finish my drink. You swallow boldly. If the fountain is still running on a busy street like this, it can't be too poisonous. Plus, the orcish creature said he's been drinking it every day of his life. In fact, the water seems quite fresh, and you swallow a few more mouthfuls, finding you had not realised how thirsty you were. Oh, it's not addictive, is it? There is nothing else to do here. You continue up the road. Very well, then. This part of town feels abandoned, like the drying strip of sand left behind by a falling tide. A little further on, the road approaches the first stone building you have seen since the hut by the gates. It has windows of glass and a wide yard inside its uneven high wall. Whoever lives here is wealthy and understandably cautious. They have, however, left a fine stallion only loosely tied up outside. That feels like a trap. So ignore the horse. But if I go into the house, follow the road up. I mean, we're not at Dwarftown yet, are we? Okay. Yes, I think I shall pay this house a visit and hope I don't get into too much trouble. Oh, that's a big house. You step through the gate of the house into its wide front yard. This was once a magnificent place with fish ponds, now stagnant, fountains, now cracked and dry, and small groups of quiet trees, now overgrown and gnarled like whispering old men. The building itself has fared no better. One side has collapsed in on itself completely, and the other leans perilously to one side. If I find someone here who can tell me anything about the gate, I'll be lucky. Fountains, trees, approach the building. I'll look at the trees and hope I don't get swarmed by some horrible... I was going to say I hope I don't get swarmed by attacked by some swarm of flying bats. You pause to look around in the trees and shrubs, and that's when you notice the two gleaming eyes staring back at you. A giant bat hangs upside from one of the branches watching you. Draw my sword, walk on by, cast a spell. It's daylight. Bats sleep at day, right? So I'll just walk past and hope it's not feeling too active. You hold the bat's stare for another moment, then walk on, but the rustling in the leaves behind you is pretty clear, and you spin around in time to see the creature coming for you with its talons drawn. You draw your sword quickly and engage the creature. It appears to be defending heavily. If I go about a... What's that? 3.8. If I go 4 point... Yeah. That'll do. 4-1. Yeah, he was defending with his wings. The bat's great wings buffet at your face, making it harder to see. You slash out at the creature, hoping to cut off its wings as the bat flutters back quickly out of reach. I don't know where I even got that quickly from. You do not harm the giant bat. It flaps its wings threateningly, clearly trying to frighten you. Well, I've got a little bit in there. Okay, if I go heavy, then defend. Another chance follows. You cleave the air with your sword. The giant bat tries to cover itself, but it is too slow. It tumbles backward into a tree in a crash of branches. The creature's eyes glow a fierce, maddening red. So it went 1.5, so it can go up to about a 3. I'm going to defend. You drop into a crouch. The giant bat comes at you furiously as you push the blow away. You escape mostly unscathed. Alright. Hard? No. 2.5. It's been going quite low overall so far. Oh, and it went defending. You wait for the creature's wide wings to open and then you strike. You cut a sideways blow, but the giant bat closes its tough wings. The bat is flying erratically now. It ruffles its sleek leathery wings intimidatingly. So I think it's going to attack. I go in hard. I won't do 3 points, so... defend. Oh, a light attack, okay. You fall back. The giant bat tries to slice you with its wings, but you duck. You breathe a sigh of relief. It drops into the bushes, wings folded, and I go overkill. Oh, 1 point, it was defending. An opening appears. You bring your blade in heavily, but the giant bat reacts, shielding itself. It escapes your blow, so it can't go above about a 3.4. Maybe it can do a 4. I'll try 3.8. Oh, so lucky. The creature is now afraid. Pushing off the tree trunk, you thrust forwards. The bat falls to the ground, and the light in its eyes goes dark. Competent combat. I'll take it. I'm not going to be clicking try again in combat generally through this playthrough. You turn to face the house once more. I can't check the fountains now. I shouldn't spend too much time here. If this is a very dangerous location, and I end up taking a lot of damage, then if I find any food here, it's likely to be gone off, unless there's smugglers stashing things here. The front door is as wide as 2 men and stands imposingly sealed. A small path winds around the back of the house. Path around the back? Yeah. Oh! You follow the path around the back of the building. The rear is simply boarded up and secure. There is a low stone wall, partially ruined, through which the path continues, turning into a track that runs away through the fields. Follow the track? No, I'll go back to the yard. I wasn't planning on going out to another location. You're getting diverted. Wandering off through the empty fields of Khare is unlikely to help you in your search. You turn back and return to the street outside the old house. Back to the main road then. You head through the front yard of the ruined house and out onto the main street. The horse at the post whinnies and shakes its mane. So I wonder why the horse has been left here. Obviously not by the inhabitants of the house. Well, I'll follow the road a bit further. You follow the road past the grand house. A side road appears on the left. Well, I'll look down it and see what I can see. Looking left, you see an arch. Beyond that, a wide yard. As you watch, a guardsman walks past. You know, this looks like a big, fancy place. But when I emerged from the prison, this area here. And presumably this area here is where the guards were performing their military training. I don't think I should go that way. I think I should carry on along this road and not go into too much trouble. As you press on up the road, you notice the huts either side are getting smaller. The roadway is now bustling with dwarves and other small fellows. It seems from the contemptuous looks you are receiving from the inhabitants of this sub-hamlet... It seems from the contemptuous looks you are receiving that the inhabitants of this sub-hamlet are not kindly disposed towards human-sized outsiders. Walk on my knees. Well, I might get a few laughs, and then I could get poked and, well, have rocks thrown at me. They could jeer and insult me. Keep on going to just hurry through the area so that they don't... Because the longer I spend here, the worse it's going to get. And they could think I'm mocking them. Yeah, I'm just going to keep moving. You walk on, smiling down at the people you pass. You reach the middle of the dwarf ghetto, a small square with a general store off to one side. Further up the street, you see a small crowd gathered around two scuffling creatures. Well, I do need provisions, so I'm going to go into the shop and hopefully I won't get too much trouble in here. You duck your head to squeeze through the doorway of the dwarf store. The proprietor is a stocky type of advanced years who peers at you through a pair of bottle glass spectacles balanced on a long, gnarly nose. "You're not a dwarf," he observes with uncanny accuracy as you enter. Yeah. Does that mean I can't shop here? I want to look around." You say. The dwarf shrugs. "Then look away. If you got enough room to turn that big empty of your head of yours..." You browse the shelves of the shop. A selection of gauntlets, potion of mystery, provisions. Honey, I have beeswax already, a small vial of dust. I don't think I need gauntlets for any spells. Now, what could dust be? It could be sand, but unlikely. I've got a lot of money, but I need to stretch it out. Yeah, I need to make it last. Medicinal potion. I'm not going to find any more giant's teeth. Sand. The vial of dust could be sand. I'm not... Oh, stone dust! Special stone dust can be thrown at a creature as this spell is being cast. Within seconds, the intended victim will petrify, quickly becoming a grey stone statue. That could be extremely useful. A small vial of dust. You lift a vial from one shelf, and it seems to contain nothing but grey dust. You turn it over in your hand. It sparkles a little in the light. 3 gold pieces, calls the dwarf, but you cannot tell what it is. He might take offence if I undo the stopper. Shake it. I'll buy it. You hand over 3 gold pieces and take the vial. Then you open the stopper and look inside. It does not contain dust, but sand. Hey, I got sand! That's a spell. Provisions. Yeah, absolutely. Get 2 or 3. Potion of mystery. Probably not wise. Selection of gauntlets. I can look, right? Look but not touch. You notice 2 kinds of gauntlets on sale in the shop. Chainmail ones and leather ones. 5 gold pieces for either, the dwarf remarks helpfully. Chainmail is hard to make, but leather is harder to come by. There seems to be nothing else to distinguish between them, and since you only have 1 pair of hands, there seems little use in buying more than 1. Which should I buy? The dwarf looks at you and thinks for a moment as though considering your character. Leather, he says eventually. Of course, whether you can trust him or not is another question entirely. Look, I'm going to leave the gauntlets. You shake your head. But these are provisions. You look over the food on sale. It all seems palatable enough. A stack of flatbreads and some hard, squeaky cheese. Squeaky cheese? 3 gold pieces per meal, the dwarf says. It looks like he has 4 meals worth on the shelf. That's a bit expensive, but I'll buy 3. That does mean I'm getting a rather low on money now. You hand over 9 gold pieces and place the rations into your bag. The dwarf harumphs, leaning back, and waits to serve you. No, look, that's enough. I've given him, like, what, 14 gold already? Something like that? Or 12? That's enough for me, you say. The dwarf nods. A pleasure doing business with you, he replies. You head back out into the sunlight and stretch to your full height. Oh, that's good to be out under that roof. Go over to the crowd. I imagine it's something like a cockfight, and I can gamble on the outcome of which cockerel is likely to best the other. Or I could keep on going. I think keeping moving through this portion of town is a good idea for now, because I could lose money, and I don't have money to lose as it currently stands. You follow the road up a gentle rise towards a building with a large domed roof. All the various alleys seem to converge on it, and it is thronged with people. From here it seems that there is no way around. Well, let's approach the building then. The road becomes narrower as the slum dwellings either side become more built up. Finally it opens into a small plaza in the shade of a large domed building. It is some kind of sprawling covered market. Looking left and right, you see several other roads entering the building through different archways. A group of serpent heads are just passing by. As in people with the heads of snakes? Now, I've been thinking. When presented with opportunities to stop and eat, something might happen. I might, it takes time to eat, so I might observe some occurrence that I would miss if I just carried on. I always get the opportunity to eat when I rest, but eating before resting is it's an opportunity, so I'll take it. You pause a moment in the sunshine and get out a quantity of your cheese and bread. Once you've eaten, you feel a little better. The serpent heads make for the market entrance. I'll talk to them and hope I don't antagonize them too much. You stop one. Greetings, you begin. What is this place? The serpent head looks back at you, unimpressed. It's the artist's quarter. They have to have a roof over them or their paints run and they complain. Nothing worse than a complaining artist, Nothing worse than a complaining artist, remarks the second creature. Well, thank you. You're welcome, replies the first serpent head, who appears to speak quite normally. But I'll give you a tip. Don't pose for any pictures. You'll regret it. With that, the serpent heads march away inside the building. The market seems a confusing place. Various tracks head off into bushes near its walls. You may be able to find a way around it after all. Interesting. I think the double building does make this look like a guard's barracks, so I'm pretty happy that I've avoided trouble there. Let's see. I mean, obviously there's a lot of areas here that I haven't been too closely involved with just yet. Interesting. Well, that's alright, I'll try and find my way around. I can go into the market and come out heading up any of these roads. Find my way around. I'll probably end up over here somewhere coming back out on this road. So I'll venture into the market and see what I can find. Yes. The market is a maze of alleys. Every inch of space is being used for trade, with shops, stalls, and piles of goods set out on crates and barrels. Hawkers bellow about their wares, each trying to shout down the next. People in all manner of strange creatures mill about, quite lost, but very few seem to be actually buying anything. Well, what options do I have apart from generally moving into the crowd? Okay, fine, I'll go into the crowd. You lose yourself browsing the stands. Most sell carpets, but some also offer incense burners, lanterns, and pottery. You can't see any blacksmiths or food stalls, however. Below the dome? I'm just checking for any other options I might be missing. Sure. Some tiny squiggled in people there. You move on through the market, elbowing your way between shoppers and hawkers to stand below the enormous glass dome. Through the hubbub of passers-by, you spot the exit across the hall. Noise rolls like thunder around the roof of the market. Well, there's a bustling crowd in here. It's quite believable. Back down the market. Leave the market. The far end. Let's go see what's up the back end of the market, in case there's anything tucked away there. You walk to the furthest end of the market. On your left, a man grabs your sleeve. "You want to buy a carpet?" he asks. "Finest carpet." Oh! No, you want to buy carpet. Ah, so he speaks broken English, right? Yeah. "You want to buy carpet?" he asks. "Finest carpet this side of the Baklands, made from real moths." Well, I'll look at the carpets and hope he doesn't stab me in the back or try and pick my pocket or something. Behind the man is a towering stack, 30 or 40 carpets high. Each one is grey and so dusty that they make you want to sneeze. A fight has broken out in one corner of the market. It's quickly settled down by a score of passers-by. A score's 20, that's a lot. Step into the carpet shop. I think this is a trap. I have vague memories of this encounter. I think this is definitely a trap. Okay, no, I'm not going in there. I don't think he's going to have any information that I need. You return to the middle of the market. Looking to one side, you spot a small artist's studio. A sign above it says, "Find yourself in here." The artist sits outside. You have a feeling there is something strange about him, but you cannot work out immediately what it is. I think I want to go... If I go back down the market, is this the only way out? Because I came in from over here. Let's try this way and see what I can find here. You return to the lower end of the market. The air grows thick with the scent of perfumes, incense and flowers, and then a darker smell. Soot. Smoke is coming from a firemaster's stall, outside of which several ornate fires of different colours and shapes are burning. Oh, ooh, fire elementals? Possibly. I'll play. Let's see what's going on. The firemaster's face is a patchwork of scars and scabs, and he smiles a ghastly smile. "Hello there," he groans. "I hope you're interested in fires." White, green, blue, and black fires burn side by side in a row like flowers in a window box. They are quite beautiful and almost hypnotic in the way they move. How do they work? "Ah, that's my secret," he says proudly. He glances meaningfully at the hut door. "Well, I'll stay out here, thank you." The man shrugs. "Very well." The firemaster nods and smiles, clearly hoping you will buy one of his lesser wares. I'll ask him about the North Gate, and he'll probably say you haven't given me any money. "Tell me something," you say. "I need to pass through the North Gate of the city. Can you help?" The firemaster shrugs. "Not many who do. None as I've ever heard of." "I know about the spell lines, or at least I know I need to find the nobles." You tell him. "Maybe I can convince them to let me through." "The nobles," the man sighs. "The nobles are all but disbanded. There's no council anymore, just an empty building and some guards." "What happened to them?" "No one knows how it started. There's those that say one of them tried to kill Sansus, the first noble. Others say he just fought as they was trying. But now, they've all gone to ground, hidden, or gone underground in some cases, One was blinded and is living as a beggar now. Those that recognise him treat him most cruelly, I'm told. Is there no other way to find the spell lines? Oh, retired from being a noble. I see. Probably, he says. Khare is full of gods. Ask the god of malice. He is a priest near here. Ask the other one, the fat one, the god of whatever he's god of. You have as much chance of getting something from those powers as from those powers that be as you would getting a noble to talk. Seeing as most nobles have their tongues cut out already. At least gods stay in one place. Then he folds his arms. Now, you buying a fire, aren't you? Alright, look, I'd better not. You have no use for your fires, but thank you for your time. I have no use for your fires, but thank you for your time. Then you nod and strike back into the crowds of the market. You found 2 clues, and other clues have been updated. Let's see. Priest in Lower Khare might be able to help you find the spell lines of the gate. Can I get back there? Lord Lorag is a scholar. That's apparently been updated. One of the nobles is now blind and begging. Lord Sansus is the first noble of Khare, and only he knows the full spell to open the north gate of the Cityport. 4 nobles of Khare were each given 1 line of the spell to the north gate. You will need to find these nobles if you can, and learn their secrets. I have a feeling this will not be a successful first run. Where can I go from here? I can go just back into the middle of the market, so I can't go this way. Alright. The market seems to be endless. You're quite sure you've seen the same 12 creatures walking round and around in circles now. I probably have. You move back to the centre of the market. You've been walking in circles here for some time now as well. The market stalls smell of soot and spice. Well, let's get out of this place. I don't really have the money to stay here much longer. You turn around intending to leave the market when you realise that you have lost sight of the entrance in the crush of people and creatures. You wander for a few minutes from one carpet seller to the next, but you get quickly utterly lost. I could cast a spell. I'm pretty healthy at the moment. Sure. It's how, isn't it? H-O-W. Find a safe passage, yeah. You cast the spell and a voice enters your mind with clear instructions of how to leave the market. However, they are complicated and you won't be able to remember them unless you go now. Well then, I'm going now. Striding quickly, you follow the twists and turns as guided by the voice in your mind until you see daylight. And now, there's a kind of statue here. Emerging, blinking into the sunshine, you find yourself near a tall statue, beyond which is a wider plaza. At the foot of the statue is a drinking bowl. A drinking fountain. Well, I'll drink. You drink a deep draught of cool, crisp water and feel quite refreshed and got a stamina point back. Nice. Well then, out into the plaza. This is a paved clearing, perhaps intended for visitors of the market to tie up their horses, but if any have, then it would seem their horses have been stolen. All around, the slum houses rise tall, squats piled on squats, emanating a thick and terrible smell. There are not many creatures about. The main road continues between the slums, heading to a low rise, and a side alley leads left. I'll look left. To the left, a narrow road leads deep into the slum district, but its lanes are slung with decoration and ragged bunting. I'll look right. The main road turns to the right here and continues up the rise towards a run of slightly grander buildings. Ivy and gripweed hang from bent metal railings. The whole place seems empty, deserted, and dark. Suddenly, out of an almost invisible narrow alley, a figure no higher than your knee dashes out and collides with you, sending you sprawling. They cry out an apology as they hare away down the street. Check myself over, I've probably been robbed. You pick yourself up and check yourself over. You seem to be in one piece. Okay. Time to move on, further into this city. The slum districts of Lower Khare are unlikely places to find nobles. If they're in hiding, it's actually not a bad place to go looking, but you might be able to learn their names or where they are hiding. So take the main road this way, or into the slums. You know, I think that's a decision I'm going to leave until the next episode. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, apart from the slightly awkward beginning, and I do look forward to seeing you all in the very next one. I'm going to say goodbye for now, though, and cheerio, everyone!